Are we currently experiencing a mass extinction event? Some evidence suggests that we are, and that human activity might have had a role in causing it. Why did the dinosaurs go extinct? What percentage of life has survived the mass extinction events that Earth has seen? How long do extinction events typically last? If the history of life on Earth were to be scaled down to 12 hours, each minute would represent about 5.3 million years. This clock shows the 5 extinction events on Earth and their approximate duration according to current data. Let's look a little more in depth at these extinction events and what caused them.
Flashback to around 66 million years ago. The Earth looks similar to the way it looks today, but with continents much closer together. Ancient birds had evolved, and the diversity of flying animals increased greatly during the Cretaceous period leading up to the KT extinction. Marine animals with calcium carbonate skeletons dominated the oceans. By the end of this extinction event, about half of life on Earth was lost, and the last of the dinosaurs went extinct. What caused this extinction? Very high iridium levels in the layers separating these two eras point to a large asteroid collision that probably kicked off this extinction event. Though it took millions of years to lose the 50% of life on Earth, this collision is very likely what got the ball rolling. The KT extinction event lasted for somewhere around 178,000 years, which translates to about 2 seconds on our 12-hour clock. While the largest animals, as well as much of the plankton in the ocean, were lost in the KT extinction, the half of life that did not go extinct quickly diversified. Insects, mammals, birds, and flowering plants on land, fishes, corals, and mollusks in the ocean filled the available niches.
Now let's go back to 200 million years ago to the Triassic-Jurassic extinction event. A negative trend in certain carbon isotopes suggests that a sudden marine plankton extinction kicked off this extinction event. Sea level fluctuation and ocean acidification are also suggested, though these hypotheses don't explain the rapid drop in marine creatures. The ocean acidification and sea level fluctuations are thought to be caused by massive volcanic activity that could release aerosols, which would have a cooling effect, or CO2, which would have a warming effect and cause ocean acidification. This extinction event happened around 200 million years ago and lasted about 40,000 years. On our clock, this translates to about 0.45 seconds. This extinction eliminated ecological niches, which allowed dinosaurs to become more dominant in ecosystems for the next 100 million years. Many of these extinction events involved ocean acidification. What exactly is the problem with an acidic ocean? As atmospheric CO2 levels increase, so do the levels of CO2 dissolved in the ocean. This more acidic water causes any shelled organisms in the ocean to die because it destroys their calcium carbonate shells. When all shelled organisms are at risk, any animal that consumes them is suddenly out of food, and the entire food web is in jeopardy.
The Permian extinction took place about 252 million years ago. On our clock, that translates to around 1117. The Permian extinction lasted for about 60,000 years. That's about 0.66 seconds on our 12-hour clock. Earth looked very different from today. Continents were clustered together, forming the supercontinent Pangaea. The Permian period saw very diverse invertebrate life, and some of the largest insects ever found date to the Permian. Ocean acidification, anoxic oceans, and volcanism are all proposed to have made oceans toxic enough to kill the majority of multicellular life on Earth. The biggest loss of life during this extinction event was to marine life, particularly marine invertebrates. This disrupted ecosystems and resulted in a chain reaction up the food chain. Early reptiles and certain types of aquatic invertebrates and crustaceans survived this extinction.
Going back to about 375 million years ago, we see the late Devonian extinction, which lasted around 5 million years. That translates to about 2.8 minutes on our clock. By the end of this period, the land had been colonized by plants and insects. The oceans were full of coral reefs, brachiopods, and trilobites. 2 supercontinents were beginning to converge into Pangaea. this extinction event seems to have only affected marine life. Anoxia, the lack of oxygen in the oceans, probably played a dominant role in this extinction, possibly triggered by either global cooling or ocean volcanism. The fossil evidence available to us suggests that this extinction event killed off 19% of families and 50% of all genera, though it is difficult to assess the certainty of this number due to sampling biases in what taxa were preserved from this era.
Life in the Ordovician-Silurian period was relatively primitive. Clams and snails started showing up in the fossil record. Coral reef ecosystems comprised much of life at this time, and as a result, survival of life was sensitive to the health of these reefs. The Ordovician-Silurian extinction event occurred 444 million years ago. Paradoxically, it occurred during something known as the Great Ordovician Biodiversification Event. Carbon and oxygen isotope data from ice, fossils, and rocks suggests that there was rapid glaciation and melting events as supercontinents floated over the South Pole and CO2 levels rose and dropped rapidly in concert with volcanic activity and erosion. This caused sea levels to change rapidly, which exposed shallow ocean environments and then filled them with water again. New niches were rapidly eliminated, which killed off existing organisms, and then those same niches were rapidly made available again when the sea levels rose. The small populations that recolonized these niches each time would have a strong founder effect, hence biodiversification happening at the same time as extinction. For those who don't know, the founder effect in this context means that the change in allelic frequencies of populations that recolonized the shallow seas were more susceptible to chance due to their small size. Oxygen isotope data suggests that anoxic oceans had a role in the extinction of marine life as well. 50 to 60% of marine genera and 85% of marine species went extinct during this extinction event.
So are we entering a sixth mass extinction? Here's a population biologist from Stanford Wood Institute for the Environment to take on that question.
There is a denier set of people who say, no, the biologists are crazy, they're exaggerating, we're not, species aren't disappearing all over the place, we're not entering a sixth mass extinction. People at Berkeley studied the best fossil record for doing this, that is the mammal fossil record, and took a look at, on average, how fast were mammals going extinct when there wasn't a mass extinction episode. Extinction goes on all the time, but what makes one a mass extinction episode? And it turns out that they found that the going on all the time rate was about 2 times as fast as had previously been thought. But when you look at a conservative estimate of how fast mammals are going extinct today, it runs somewhere between, say, 15 and 100 times as fast as the new fast rate from the past. What our paper is basically the icing on the cake. It shows without any significant doubt that we are now entering the 6th great mass extinction event.
The proposed Holocene extinction event has been happening for about 12,000 years, which corresponds to just 0.02 seconds on our history of life clock. What is novel about the current extinction event is not the amount of organisms that have gone extinct, but the rate at which organisms are going extinct. We relied on data to reconstruct how the last 5 extinction events happened, and it would be intellectually dishonest to ignore the same data out of convenience now.